Welcome back. I'm Tedward. Welcome to my 2023 Honda Civic Type R, and welcome to a beautiful spring day in New England. It's finally getting to be 70, 80 degrees, and I feel like I'm coming back to life. No more boring SUVs on barren, potholed nightmare roads. We're going to start getting back into the sports cars. And as you can see, we've got the stock OEM 19-inch wheels back on with the Michelin PS 4S tires. Now, I'm not going to use these on the racetrack. I am just going to use these on the street. I got to figure out my race setup soon. But man, oh man, does this Type R clean up nicely. I have been keeping it squeaky clean because I bought a power washer. Or actually, I received a power washer for my birthday. What a great gift. And I got a foam cannon, and now I am ready to wash. But I still do need, of course, my good friends over at Craft Detailing, because I don't do the heavy lifting. You know, we've got all these little rusty spots, which are like, what's it called? Rail dust, and that's just coming off the brakes and coating the whole side of the car. So we're going to get this thing nice and purple when we spray some Iron X or whatever decon stuff they're going to use on there and clean it up perfectly. But I also wanted to give an update on my New Year's resolutions. We talked about that before, where I wanted to buy a house, start my online merch store, and run a half marathon. I gotta say, things are going pretty good. So let's jump in. We'll do some life update stuff and just enjoy the car. But actually, we can get one of these resolutions out of the way, because I'm actually going out to just ship a bunch of t-shirts and stickers to you guys, because I did open my merch store. So if you want one of these logo stickers on the side of your car, or wherever the heck you put stuff, on your lift or whatever, I really appreciate that. It's always cool to run into one of those on a familiar road. All right, let's jump in. I love this car. Put these windows up for the sake of wind noise. Use the air conditioning because we ain't cheap. All right, so now that you know that my merch store is open, that gets rid of, yikes, that is strong. Knock this down a little bit. Now that you know the merch store is open, that knocks out 33.33333% of my New Year's resolutions. So where do we stand on buying a house and running a half marathon? Well, the house has not gone very far. We can just put it at that. There is very little available housing in Massachusetts right now. Oh my goodness, it's so depressing. If you want to feel miserable every single night as you're falling asleep, check Zillow. Just check Zillow and look at all the things you can't afford. And then, almost worse than that, check out all the things you can afford. And they are just horrible. It's like so depressing. It's so tempting when I see some people like living out in Kansas, or, you know, even like North Carolina, stuff like that. Like, you can get a whole ass house for like 300 G's, man. You get a nice place. Here, oh, that's a project. That is a serious project. But let's talk about the running. First, we'll get a little run in this. Still getting used to actually using the power in this car, because I've just been like tootling around in it for the last 3 months over the winter. But running, man, oh, I ran all winter. I grew up with like terrible asthma, so running was not really in the cards for me. I was never an athletic kid, never considered myself an athlete. And even when I did athletic things, I felt like I wasn't allowed to call myself an athlete. When I was in college, I cycled a lot. I rode my bike. I usually do like 30 to 40 mile a day rides. And I even did some races. Like, I rode 125 miles from Boston to Provincetown. So that's a serious day of riding. Like, any normal person would probably consider that to be like an athletic endeavor, but I never felt like I was able to call myself that. And even as a runner, I ran on and off during college, like not far, maybe like 2 miles, but like I still would never have called myself a runner, because I saw all those guys running for the track team, like running cross country, running distance, running actual competitive races. And I'm like, well, those are runners. I'm not a runner. I'm just a guy trying not to, get enormous while eating all of this cafeteria food at college. But lately, that has completely changed, because I ran all winter, which was already a big deal for me. Running in cold weather, not something I've ever done in my life. That's really difficult for me. And finally, like, my breathing is getting better. I feel better. It really quelled a lot of my depression and anxiety and things that, like, typically you feel like you have no release or relief from, and you self-medicate with like alcohol or bad behavior or just buying lots of stuff. Some people have like that shop therapy thing. But the idea that every day I could go out and get in my 5K run. For most of the winter I was doing like 3-4 miles a day. I was able to go out and just accomplish a goal. And that was like what was really important. So I'm not like telling you, go be a runner. You don't have to do that. But like find a healthy behavior that you feel like you've always wanted to do. Like you have to want to do it too. This is what I always find is very bizarre about people who are like really into like fitness Instagrams or fitness TikToks and stuff like that. It's like they want the body, right? They want like to look like a certain thing. And anyone who's dieting or working out because the goal is to look a certain way, I feel like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. I always feel like that's not an attainable thing to do because it's not going to happen quickly. Like getting fit, looking however way you want to look, like isn't going to happen overnight. And by the way, no matter how fit you get, you probably still will never be happy with yourself, just an FYI. So that's not to discourage you from doing it. It's to say that find the right reasons. Like if you want to start working out or you want to be a runner or you want to lift or whatever, like you should be doing it because you want to get stronger, you want to have more endurance, you want to be healthier. Like that should objectively be the goal. Maybe you have a goal where like you want to run a marathon or you want to do like a CrossFit competition or something. Like that's totally fair too. But if your goal is just like lose 50 pounds, like that's a worthy goal. But like the goal shouldn't be lose 50 pounds. The goal should be like be healthy, feel better about yourself, like be able to breathe when you're walking up a flight of stairs. Those are good goals, and those are sustainable goals that will keep you moving. All right, I got to run in real quick and mail off the second shipment of the day of all this stuff because I forgot a couple when I came here earlier today. Whoops, my bad. And we're back. Okay, everything's all mailed off. So finding ways to keep my goals in check and like not just wear out on them has been really important. And I don't set like crazy goals. I see people and like, you know what? God bless them. They're doing like these really wild programs where they're like every 75 hard every single day. I'm going to go do this like miserably exhausting task at 5 a.m. for 75 days straight. Don't miss a single day, because if you miss a single day, you're a failure. And it's just like not how your body works. It's not how like goal setting should work, because man, like once you like fail at something, it sometimes sucks to go back. You like don't want to do it again, or you feel like, well, I wasted it. I didn't do it. So like why continue? And like the purpose of doing anything healthy is to be healthy, is to like maintain a reasonably like good lifestyle that's going to benefit you in the long term. Crash dieting, crazy workouts, boot camps, man. People do these boot camps. I'm like, of course you hate running. Of course you hate working out. Of course you hate like calisthenics, because that's miserable. You're like doing the most miserable thing you could do to your body, and like you would never associate those activities with fun because you're just beating the bag out of yourself. Like sure, there can be sources of pride if you're somebody who's like, I can do 200 push-ups in one go and all that stuff, and like that's great, you should do that, that's a good thing. But like if you're like trying to get fit, I don't know, I know for me that is not a way for me to sustain a lifestyle, because I might be able to do it for a little while, but at some point I'm going to give up and I'm going to be like, yeah, that was crazy. Could you believe I used to do that? So that brings me to the way I run. And let's see if this guy is going to just cross double yellows. That's a bullshit move, buddy boy. Don't like it. Okay, and the other thing that I want to talk about is this car real quick. We're going to do like a full video on this later, but thankfully, right after I posted my seat squeak video, Honda recalled the seats, and that is so good. It's so good because I don't have to explain it to anybody. I don't have to go into a service department and say, hey, do you hear that? Do you hear that? and then they sit there and fumble with it and drive my car and test it out. No, there is a reason. There's faulty welds in the seat frame, and they're going to fix it. So now the question is, how quickly can they do it? It's April. I'm hoping it's done by May so I can have a track season. I've seen on a Motor Trend video that someone's seat literally came off the rails, and I don't want that. I don't want to have a tripod seat. That's A, incredibly dangerous in an accident, and B, completely unsupportive, and it's not going to function on a racetrack for me. So there's a stop sale on the cars, and this needs to be taken care of. So hopefully that is done soon. Anyway, quick little update. Just wanted to say hello. How are you? It's springtime. Get out, do something healthy, cut the sweets, cut the drinking. And it doesn't matter if you run 10 miles or 100 feet. You're a runner if you run, man. Just go and do it. And by the way, nobody's looking at you. If the intimidation factor, especially in a town like Boston, where everybody is a friggin' runner, everybody out in Boston is some shirtless Harvard student who's running 30 miles a day. It's oh, I don't deserve to be out there. I'm not worthy of being out there. I don't care if you weigh 400 pounds. Pop that shirt off, get out there, and get running, man, because you're just as much as a runner as any of them. And I'd like to see them carry 400 pounds, man. This is why you stay way back from this. Isn't this unbelievable? I would like to not mess with that even a little bit. People pull way up, and then yeah, of course you're going to get hit by this truck.